Welcome to Your Energy First, the podcast where intuition meets mindset for aligned decisions in life and business. I'm your host, Emily McNaughton, here to help guide you in unlocking your unique energy and create success your way. Welcome back, everyone, to our spacious, powerful time together to help. Oh, this is so funny. You know, I hold energetic space for energy activations for you, intuitive messages, and the guides are saying to help evaporate some energy. Okay, this makes sense. Pardon me, give my throat a moment. There's so much pollen in the Seattle area right now. I'm just having these like random bouts of choking on nothing. I came prepared, yet here we are. So, what's been really fascinating is I'm being called to share more of what I am intuiting around energies and powerful lessons around energies, because at some level, each of us is experiencing these things. And when you have someone else hold this energy and this awareness for you, it helps you grow and develop this aspect of yourself. And I'm going to be sharing more about this with my social media posts. My podcasts are going to remain energy activations for the time being until I get the guidance for something else. Excuse me. And this is what I teach in the program Holding Energetic Space. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm going to invite you to check it out. There is currently a wait list until I open up the next group. And I am taking private clients again. So for 3 to 6 months, starting in May. And this is if you want to develop your own intuition, learn how to bring it into your life and business. How do you communicate with your spirit guides with more of a flow in your day to day? And what's unique about your energy and your energetic experience? Now, with the private mentorship, the other thing that has come through are intuitives who want to grow and develop their intuitive business. So, if you're interested in either of those things, you can find that information on my website, in my Instagram and TikTok profiles. And it's been absolute blast. It has been, I learn new things all the time. And my clients bring forth some of the coolest, just energy tools and their guides and the wisdom and the humor and all of that. So we really have a great time with this. I call it a container because it's a literal energetic space that I hold, and it's just a lot of fun. So right now, there is this energy of perspective. So you and I know everything is energy, but typically we think, you're energy, I'm energy, the wall's energy, right? Well, and we know our thoughts are energy, and we want to start thinking about how our thoughts actually reverberate energy back to us. So to help explain this particular energy, I walked into one of my favorite stores in the Seattle area. I was called to, ironically enough. It was like a Tuesday morning, and I was like, really? I was like, going shopping. And great store. And as I'm checking out, I start chatting with this woman, and she goes, what do you do? And I'm like, what do you do? And I mean, because I wasn't sure if she owned the place or not. Turns out she did. And as we're chatting, she's telling me about how the state of the world, and we need to start hoarding our cash, and we need to start retaining our silver, even if it's broken bits of silver. And then she said, I'm so grateful. I have 4 kids, and they're in their 30s, and they have, the jobs that they need. And it sounds like her kids are doing really well. And then on the flip side, she starts talking about the business and how her and her husband bought this business from her mother-in-law 10 years ago. And she goes, but that would never work nowadays. And I was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to argue. And so we keep chatting, and I kind of shift the topic a little bit. And it turns out she's retiring at the end of this year. I said, oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. And I said, so what's going to happen with the business? And she goes, you wouldn't believe it, but we found the most perfect buyer for it who's going to keep it going live and well. And I was like, that's so exciting. And as I was walking out, I turned to her and I said, I feel like we're pretty well taken care of and looked after. And she goes, oh, definitely. So here's a gal who if you look on one hand and one perspective, things are going absolutely famously for her, right? Life is good. Kids are well. She loves her job and she's going to be retiring. They found the perfect buyer to honor the business and keep its mission moving forward. And then on the flip side, it's not about, on the flip side, there's a lot of doom and gloom. And it's different when we are aware of very real things that need our attention and focus in order to shift and change. You and I are not meant to save the world. We would love to. We would if we could. There's no question about that, but we're not meant to. So what you and I need to do is find our purpose and our passions in life and what our give back and our support and growth looks like for us. Now, the other angle is we are receiving the guides are just like way too much information, way too much information. We're receiving way too much inaccurate information. They're showing me it's in the mid to high 70% is misinformation. And they say, so where is your information coming from? Why aren't you receiving guidance internally? And this is something that took me, oh my goodness gracious. Did you guys just hear that? Sorry about that. Sometimes this microphone works really well and you can't hear anything around me, and then sometimes you can. But basically, something just scared my cat, Canyon, and ended up scaring both of them. And so they scrambled. What's really fascinating is for the last few years, it has taken me time to extract myself from what the guides are calling the burdens of the matrix and really define who I am and where I'm going. This took years. I wish I could tell you it was an overnight thing, or here's the 3 steps, and you too can have a clear, solid, grounded mind and practice at all times, forever and ever. Amen. No. So, but it all started with me getting clear on my internal self, what's my truth, and my mind. Our mind plays such a big role in our overall happiness and patterns. So here's the energy of perspective. The energy of perspective is when, energy moves through you and I because we're alive and we're conscious no matter what we're doing. So perspective energy is the culmination of your thoughts, what you believe to be true, even in fear. In fear and in worry and anxiety, things aren't necessarily true. However, the energy still culminates as if it is, and it builds up and swells up around you. So I see energy, and what this looks like, it's almost like liquid form. It's like the reverse of a deep dive suit. It's like if you have the deep dive suit, but all the liquid stays within you, within the suit. And it buries you. It energetically buries you. And perspective, we as humans are actually kind of afraid of how good it can be. We're afraid of how good it can get because that is actually the power. That's what actually makes you, they're using this term, masterful of your energy, like a guide of your energy. So part of what we want to do with this activation we're going to go through is begin to penetrate, they're saying negative perceptions. I want to say perceptions that no longer serve you, negative perceptions. And it's like we're going to pepper right through them. And also bring your conscious awareness to them so that you can actually say, what is my perception here? Is it focused on things that aren't validated, or my inner calling, or my inner truth? Those two things. The energy of perspective. The other thing that's been coming to light is where we make assumptions. So the guides are having me say to people, Do you know that to be true? Do you know that to be true? And where are we making up stories in our head? Part of that human experience. Again, perspective. Okay. There's this other anecdote coming through. There's a greater spirit team here, okay? Sometimes, so even though all the energies work together, there will be groups of energies that come in for additional support. Keep in mind the work that I teach is in alignment with the light, connected with source energy. So it has to be in alignment with integrity for all involved. So if I say a new group of the light is coming in, I'm in my process and in my inner light framework power so that I'm not just sitting here willy nilly. Oh, this energy is coming through and has good information for us. Excuse me. You got to get past the guards first. One of those guards being my mind with the perspective of don't let anything negative get through. See, so many ways to use this. Okay. We're going to do the energy activation here in a second. But this greater team is saying you can turn your wisdom on a dime. Normally we would say you can turn your life on a dime for better, right? Even better. And that is absolutely true because really what I've found to be the case is that it's simply an energy shift. You click into a different frequency. We just have to have the strength to let the other things go. That is the multi-layered ego death. This podcast is so fun. So fun, just little topics we're talking about here. Energy of perspective, ego death, spirit team, beyond spirit team groups coming in. Okay, so they share that because they want you to know that that's available so that as you continue to make wise decisions for yourself and you feel as though it's time for you, okay, because you are wise now, you have healing tools, you have perspective, and you know that when it feels right for you, you can shift your perspective, your life, your energy in a moment. Remember that. This tool and this ability of yours is not to be used when we are going through, they call it dark night of the soul. The guides call it deep redemption. Because dark night of the soul is just becoming more of you, right? So, or if you're going through grief, or if you're healing active trauma, things like that, this is not those periods of time unless you feel called, unless it's your wisdom. So you listen to your smarts and your wisdom about when it feels right to turn that on a dime. We also don't want to shame ourselves if we're going through a healing process to be like, oh, I could just shift this on a dime. I could just shift this on the dime. I was helping somebody out the other day and they're in a rough place with grief. And part of the guidance was just to be in it for a bit and just don't fight it, because that is the stage of grief that they're in, okay? So we want to use all tools with self-wisdom. Okay, back to peppering this energy of perspective, bringing ourselves to our heart, to our light space, to your inner power, your inner light. And there's this framing happening right now. So while these gorgeous, gorgeous beams of bright light are framing us to set up this activation, I want you to connect with yourself, your team, your higher power, and say, I set the intention, I receive the guidance and exactly what it is I need for this energy activation. I'll let you say that while I take a sip of my water. Now, what we want to realize is that I'm being reminded to tell you these energy activations are not just about you and your energy. You have to let energies in. You have to let support in. You have to let the guidance in. So there's this framework, these light beams of energy framework around us so that you can allow in right now what you need and trust that what you don't need, you don't even need to be worried about. Next, We're going to run some energy for ourselves. I set the intention that divine energy is run for me exactly as I need. Maybe you feel like you need a little bit more. Maybe that's just right. Next, I call in the awareness of my own perspectives. May my own energetic perspectives light up around me. So now you're perceiving, either with your feeling or your knowing, or maybe you're seeing these energies, varying forms of energy around you that are your perspectives. Did you think we only had one? If only. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. So now, as we're having divine energy run through us, I call in the divine support to help me. I don't know what this term means, you guys. I don't want to use this term if I don't know what it means. Please hold. We're just getting to the good part. Yeah, I don't like this. I'm going to ask them if we can use, I'll tell you what the term is, but I'm going to ask if we can use a different term. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. So here's the thing. When we communicate, when we commune with spirit, spirit being the activation of source energy, words and language are a human construct. On the other side of the veil, it's just energy. So when our guides and spirit team come in with messages, they'll often use terms we don't always use because it best makes sense for the situation. As you could imagine, there is unlimited energy on the other side of the veil. Honestly, same could be said for the human experience. However, what we don't have is unlimited terms. So what the term spirit was having me use was the term radicalize. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I just don't feel like I've ever heard that term used in a spiritual experience. Not a positive one anyway. So there's a few other versions of it. Often the term is used on political or social issues. Oh my gosh. Hello, Emily. Duh. Of course. Of course. Duh. Because the majority of our perceptions are political or social issues. Thank God they're leading this charge. All right. So it's about shifting your beliefs. It involves a change in one's beliefs, moving towards a more extreme stance. Again, we're all smart in utilizing our wisdom here. Okay, so you're welcome to radicalize, I use the term pepper. Pick your own term to help move and shift the energy of perspective. And for each of you, the guides are saying, for some of you, this is going to be something quick and kind of instant. And then some of you, this is going to be like a slow, slow drip. All of it is right. Quicker is not better, but it can be the best thing for you. So back to our inner lights, I call in the right energy to help shift and elevate my perspectives into something grander for the vision I hold in my heart for myself, for my loved ones, for my community, for the world, for others in a radical way. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. The energy that's coming in right now, as that energy percolates and does its business, because it is, right? You have set this energy into motion. So we do not need to sit here and control it like with a game control thing, right? Do up down left right. No. So while this energy is happening, we've used our magic wand, our minds to put this energy into motion. We want to relax into our body and energy a bit more. Say, okay, So from here, there's another energy coming in at the same time because energy does not work like one at a time. Everybody take turns. No, it all works together. That's the power of the modality holding energetic space. So there's this other energy coming in that really allows, it's a calm sense of clarity. It's where you feel most at peace within yourself. That's the energy that now gets to exist within you as your perspectives shift. I mean, pop a bottle, amen. You know, that sounds really nice. Really good. Okay, these energies are going to keep working for another 15 to 20 minutes. I just asked the guy, it's because I was like, maybe a bit shorter, maybe a bit longer. They go, nope. I was like, okay. So enjoy this, the energies work. You take care of you. Hydrate, please. Hydrate, ground, whichever you need to do to feel good. Do the things that make you happy. Do the things that make you feel warm. And remember, you are here on purpose and your energy is powerful. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this community. Until next time. It has been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. And as you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.